We are finally on to our fourth lesson in the Earning Power unit. This lesson is number 4. It's called Lifestyle. So what's most important to you when you're deciding where you work? Overall, the more closely your values match your career, the more satisfying your work will be, and the easier it's going to be to succeed on the job and move closer to reaching your financial goals. And the decisions you make in the next few years, they can either give you a jump start on living the life you want, or they could create detours which could limit your choices. So the course you take, it's going to impact your financial goals, both short-term and long-term. So in this lesson, we're going to discover strategies to start down the path of achievement so that you can attain the lifestyle and financial goals of your dreams. As you've been reading through your student booklet, I think you found that Kevin and Gina, who are the students in this unit, they think a lot about where they see themselves in the next 10 years. So my question for you is, where do you see yourself? In the next 10 years, where do you see yourself working and where do you see yourself living? So to complete this activity, open your student notebook up. And you will see that I have given you a page of career clusters. It has this at the top of it. It's this heading, career clusters. And there are 16 different career clusters. There's agriculture, food, architecture and construction, arts, business, education, finance. There's 2 pages. Which of these career clusters and which of these specific jobs do you feel like you would be working in within the next 10 years? I've also given you some stickers on that page. I want you to take one of the stickers and put it by the career cluster, or even better yet, the job that you believe you will have or that you would like to have within the next 10 years. Don't feel like the choice that you make now is the choice that you must have and the job that you must have in the next 10 years. When I was in high school, I felt like I was going to be working in the health sciences field. And that changed once I got to college and I changed to education and training. But we want to have a goal set in mind so you can start making the steps now to prepare for whatever career you want in the future. If you start preparing now and you realize that, hey, you don't want to work in health sciences, well, then you can make the changes now to decide what other choices or what other career choice would be best for you. So take one of those stickers and place it by what you feel like you would be doing in the next 10 years. One sticker on one of these career clusters, or better yet, next to the specific job you'd like to have in the next 10 years. I'm not just curious to know what type of job you'd like to have. So once you place that down, I also want to know where you'd like to be living. Now, I live in the state of Virginia, and the students that I'm creating this for, they also live in the state of Virginia, so I've printed out a state of Virginia map. If you know that you want to live in a specific city, then grab one of those other stickers and place it where you would like to live. You could place it on the map of Virginia, or if in 10 years you feel like you're going to live in another state, I've also included a map of the United States, and you can place what state you believe you're going to live in within the next 10 years. So take a moment, pause this video, and add your stickers to first the career cluster that you feel like you'd be working in the next 10 years, and then the location you would like to live in within the next 10 years. Now that you're finished, let's preview what's going to be happening through this lesson. So this is the lesson on lifestyle, where we are going to establish career and lifestyle goals. So we've already talked about where you're going to live and what type of industry you feel like you see yourself in the next 10 years. So today we're going to answer these questions. Why do we need to pay attention to the population and workplace trends? What's important to me in a job or career? And how does the cost of living impact my lifestyle? And we're going to use what you've learned today to start down the path to achieving your career and lifestyle goals. Now, if there were more students doing this looking ahead activity where I had you place stickers on the career map and a sticker on the map where you wanted to live, you would see that there's quite a lot of differences. Not everybody wants to go into health sciences. Not everybody wants to work at the agricultural fields or in the services fields. But when we look at these areas, we see that there are population trends. When I was in high school, there was a need for educators, and so a lot of people started getting jobs or getting training for education, and a lot of people started filling the job positions. Now today, there aren't as many jobs available for educators. Still quite a few that are necessary. We still need a lot of teachers, but not as many as before. So we're going to look at the reasons why we have to pay attention to the population and workplace trends, where people are getting jobs and where jobs are needed. So the general characteristics of the population, they're always changing in subtle ways, in little ways. So the first thing I want to do is talk about the changes that happen within populations, because when we can see those changes, it helps us gain insight on the types of businesses and careers that are going to be hot or that are going to be like really high paying careers down the road. So there is value in looking at job options as you consider where you're going to live and as you consider which work you're going to start doing when you're on your own. When you can pay attention to the population and the workplace trends, you have the opportunity to increase the odds of getting a job and earning an income that is going to support your demand and your lifestyle. Here's an example of what I mean. If you have a dream of working as a golf pro, you're going to need to consider the demand for workers in this position, but also geographic factors. So a golf pro who lives in northern Minnesota, where there's a lot of snow, they're not going to work many hours on a golf course during winter months. So if you want to become a golf pro, you need to think about where you're going to live. Maybe you're going to want to live someplace where there's not a lot of snow and where it's warm. That way you can work on your game and where it's nice and warm all year round, so you have more time to practice. So before you leave home and start looking for jobs, or even now as you're looking for jobs, here's some things to ask yourself. What's the job outlook? Now and in the future, what would it look like to have this type of job? Are there jobs open locally, or are you going to have to move to other locations? Is this an area that there are many people? Is this a high demand job where they need lots of workers? Or is this a job that lots of people have been filling the job positions and now they don't really need as many workers in this area? What's the competition for jobs? Is it going to help you to have more training, or can you just walk onto the job and get a job right away? And what will it take to get the career or job that you want? Are you going to need specific training or education? Are there specific skills, or do you need a certain amount of experience before you apply for the job? Do you need a certain attitude or mindset to be able to get this job? If you start right now and look ahead into your job in the future, if you can start looking at the outlook and making sure that it's a place that you're going to have job security, if you're looking at competition and making sure that you are best qualified for this job and you have the attitude and mindset of one of these career people, then you are going to be better set to get a job than somebody else who maybe doesn't have the same outlook, doesn't have the same career training as you do. I want to take a deeper look with you at the population and work trends. So in 2010, there was a U.S. census that was completed. A census surveys all the individuals in the United States and asks and collects different information about them. So it might collect their age, their gender, where they live, different questions like that, oftentimes going into their religion and their ethnicity. So there was a U.S. census done in 2010, and a lot of people will take that information and study it. So in 2011, there was a man who studied the census trends and found 6 very surprising facts about the census trend. So you have this article in your notebook. I'd like you to take a moment right now, pause this video, and read through this article. We'll discuss it in just a second, but pause this video. I want you to have read it before we discuss it. All right, so in this article, there were 6 really big trends that those who studied the census found. They saw that there was a south shifting population. So most of the population growth occurred in the southern states. There was a browning of America that estimated that 85% of our population growth during the past 10 years were represented by non-whites. So there were more diverse colors coming into America. Intermarriage increased, which is different ethnicities marrying each other. The graying of America, so older people, there were more elderly individuals still alive than during the last census. There's also a gender shift in the workforce. More women were holding jobs than before. And there were also more grandparent-headed households, where more children were living with their grandparents than had been previously living with their grandparents 10 years prior. So there's a lot of different population trends happening in America. We are described as the melting pot of the world, and that really becomes true when you look at these 6 trends. It's very diverse populations. What's interesting is probably the last couple paragraphs of this article. It says that these trends, they bring both opportunities and challenges for businesses. With people moving to the south, southern states now have a lot of diverse markets for different types of goods and services. So that's one thing that happened. The aging boomers, so those are our more elderly population, they are more well educated, they love their youth, they're tech savvy. That's like your grandparents can use a cell phone, whereas my grandparents have no idea how to use a cell phone. And they have a lot of income. So the aging boomers, they are going to need new consumer electronics, and they're also going to need goods and services that have great technology with them, as well as services for elder care and products of elder care. So that might be hearing aids and walkers. Now that we've had a lot of medical advances in our country, and people are living to be an older age. The more diverse and more multicultural that there are of consumers, we're going to need to have more companies that have strategies attracting customers and managing their workforces. So this article just goes to show that there really is an importance of looking at the job diversity before you begin a new job or even look at moving. All right, so next I want to talk about how you can live your dream. What do you value for a satisfying work situation? Looking at these 6 characteristics: management style, pay and benefits, work hours, work environment, type of work, and company purpose. What are some preferences that you have? Well, you can actually think outside of the box too. For instance, would you prefer to work inside or outside? Would you rather work a day or an evening shift or work with large equipment, or would you rather sit at a desk? In our last lesson, you completed the work setting preferences task. If you haven't, I'm going to have you go to your binder right now and complete that task. So go ahead, pause this video right now, look for the work setting preferences task and complete it if you have not already. When you can take into account your personal work preferences, that's really going to increase your satisfaction with the job. So I hope now that you've had a chance to do the work setting preferences task, I want you to do another activity. It's activity 311, my values at work. So what's most important to you when deciding where to work? List 3 criteria you're going to consider when you decide on a job or a career. So if you've already completed the work setting preferences task, you could look at that to help you kind of look at the criteria you value in the workplace. So your job for the rest of this lesson is to write down 3 things that you value at your workplace and why it's important to you. I'm going to encourage you to use complete sentences on this. You'll be using this later on as you complete another activity. And the more complete your thoughts and sentences are now, the easier it will be for you to work on that activity later during this unit. So that is all the time we have for this lesson. When you're finished with that, you can come back for another lesson next time. Thanks for stopping by.